Hey, Bob here. Part three of the Desmond Soundport. So here it is finished, and you can see the pink oval line. That's sort of my boundary. I, I cut the hole out with the Dremel tool, and then with files and sanding dowels, I made it to sort of perfection. Never touching the pink line. The pink line is the border, and it's the line that I will eventually roll over the edge to. You can see how I've already rolled over the edge with a sanding dowel and 220 sandpaper. But having the pink line there gives me a reference when I'm routing the inner yellow line, and then when I start filing to the inner yellow line, having the pink line always gives me a point of reference so that I keep everything even. Okay? Now, give you an idea, here's a matchbox. And I happen to have a ruler here too. See if I can get this. So it's about 1 5/16 wide by looks like 15/16 wide. 15/16 by 1 5/16. Okay? And I found through the years, one more thing. The thickness of the side here with the reinforcement glued in is 3.5 millimeters. Okay? The thickness right here, 3.5. And the normal side is 2 millimeters thick. Okay? So this one's pretty much done. Now, I used to make bigger sound ports, and I thought it was too much sound coming out of them. So through the years that I experimented with sound ports, I kept making them a little smaller and a little smaller. And I go with the oval shape because I think it looks better than a circle. Okay, let me continue. I use the Dremel tool to plunge route out. Using a drill bit will chip away the backside of the hole. And also cutting it with a saw is not a good idea. You could use a coping saw with a very fine blade. Of course, you'd have to cut a hole first. You could use a coping saw, and I think, in fact, I have before. It's really just a pain in the rear end. And the other thing you could use is a hole saw, which would cut you a round hole. But there's no way I'm gonna go to the side of a nearly finished guitar. There's no way I'm taking a hole saw with a hand drill and trying to go through. It's just too risky, okay? Because if you screw up, you've destroyed your entire project. Okay, and I'm all about perfection. So I found that using the Dremel tool with a cutting burr such as this one, can't remember the width of this, but it's probably a little more than a 1/16, not an 1/8. And I got the burr I buy them at Stuart McDonald. And I clean them, by the way, when I'm done, I clean them with lacquer thinner. I wet a paper towel with lacquer thinner, and that'll remove the tar off the end of the bit. All right, so back to this. This one's done. We are 1/4, a little bit more, 2 5/16 to the hole, but 2 1/4 to the pink outline. Okay, I have 2 different ovals that I trace, and one is just about 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. Not quite, maybe a 1/16 of an inch smaller, or let's say 3/32. It's somewhere in the middle. And I trace them both, so I have a yellow circle or oval and a pink oval. And then of course I already went through it in part 2 about filing, file in one direction, and watch that you're not chipping. I did have a tiny little chip here, but it didn't break or anything. I put some super glue and some kicker on it, and that held it together, and it's fine. So anyway, I just have to sand and stuff. I will not remove this pink oval or this line until the top and the back are glued on and I'm satisfied with my oval. And then at that point I will final sand the sides. But it'll stay like this until the top and back are on. And so now let me back up. Of course, the lens is going to distort everything and make things look funky. So I can get you in focus there. But yeah, here's the guitar. And of course, I'm just concerned about this area here. So that's it. I don't think I left anything out. Here's the plug. Here's the piece I took out. It's pretty gross looking, but it has no purpose. It's just, I'm not saving it for anything. If I want to make a plug for this, I would simply put veneer underneath. I'd probably laminate some veneer or use an offcut of this, and but it would be a 2-part plug. One part would fit into this hole, and the other part would be the outside, of course. And I would try to match this as best I can. Okay? But since these guitars are for me, and I already know I like sound ports, sorry about the focusing, I probably won't be making a plug. Okay? Bob checking out. It's a Tuesday. I think it's the 26th of August. And my wife's birthday was on the 24th. And surprisingly, an old girlfriend's was on the 25th. So there you have it. Today is the 26th. And I hope you have a great day, and I hope this helps in some way. If you're considering sound ports, just be careful with them, because if you make them too big, it's too much. I've seen some makers make them huge, thinking bigger is better. Not for me. This is the size that I like, and it's quite small. Okay, so that's it. Bob checking out. Have a great day.